Happy Sunday, BoobTube. Another Leafs game. End of the road trip. I think it was a 4-gamer. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch again. My ball hockey league now is double headers on Saturday afternoon, evenings. And on top of that, I had another Christmas party at my parents' house last night, so I wasn't able to tune into any of the game. Kept track of the notifications on my phone and then watched the highlights, of course. Leafs were in Edmonton last night, and they had been gaining some momentum over the last number of games, playing better defense, still having those breakdowns, which, as I've said before, are going to come with that kind of high-flying offensive type game that they play. This game against Edmonton looked like, considering the circumstances, it looked like they had a pretty solid game. Early in the game, Tyson Barrie blocked a shot and that hit him just above the ankle, and he was gone for the rest of the game. The bright side is that he didn't break anything. It looks like I'm suspecting it's just going to be like some sort of a bad bruise, something like that. So he shouldn't be out too long. So that's good. But the rest of the game, the Leafs had to play with just 5D, and which can be a hard thing when you're going up against Connor McDavid and the Oilers, right? So they got up early, 1-0 in the first period on a beauty goal by Alex Kerfoot. He got fed in front of the net and just roofed it right into the back of the net, and it came out right afterwards. And he himself didn't think he scored. He went for the rebound afterwards. So, but it was in, and that's the way the first period would end, 1-0. Second period, who was it? Another third liner, Mikheyev. He. A bit of a scramble in the Edmonton end. Some pucks going on net and coming out, and rebounds and bounces going everywhere. And it finally went to Mikheyev at the side of the net, and he buried it low and broke the camera. and which he apologized for after the game, which was pretty funny. And so that was 2-0 after the second period for the Leafs. And then in the third period, the Edmonton Oilers would draw to 2-1, and that was the closest they would ever get, as later on in the period, Freddie Gauthier on a nice kind of a cross ice pass right in front of the net. He roofed it, similar to Kerfoot's shot, really high above the glove, to make it 3-1. And then late in the game, minute and a half left, Marner scored a power play goal that made the final score 4-1. The Leafs went 1 for 2 on the power play. Or no, they went 1 for 1 on the power play. The Oilers went 1 for 2 on the power play. So they did give up a power play goal. But when you go up against the Oilers, you expect that their power play is going to burn you at some point, right? So 1 for 2, I'll take it. And they got a power play goal of their own on their only chance, which is good, encouraging. Fred looks like he had a really strong game again, which again is good. And they did it all. They talked about how they did it all at the end of a long road trip with 5D for most of the game. So it looks like they had a pretty strong team outing and came together as a group to beat a team who can really burn you on offense. So, and they were talking about the trends now with Sheldon Keefe. They're now, I think after last night's game, since he took over, they're now going to be 7-4, I think. And they have scored the opening goal of the game in maybe 7 of 11 of those games, something like that. So whereas under Babs at the start of the season, they were getting scored on first. They were playing from behind almost every night, which is never a good thing. So there's some good trends coming out of this, and although things are still kind of iffy at times, and their defensive coverage breaks down, their turnovers, their whatevers, everything looks like it's at least starting to finally come together and coalesce into more of a cohesive kind of team structure. So yeah, everything's pointing in the right direction at this point. They're only 2 games above 500 at this point, so that's my only concern is they can't afford to go on any more losing streaks really for the rest of the season. They have to really play some consistent winning 75% of the time sort of thing, right? Or something in that range, and if they do want to make the playoffs. So this season has been what it's been, but they've addressed the problem. They got rid of Babs and they're moving on, and it is what it is now. They're left with what they're left with, and it looks like they're trying to make the best go of it that they can, and hopefully it'll be enough, because who knows what will happen if the Leafs are happy, they're playing a new game style that they love. Like I said, I don't believe it'll be enough to win the cup, but At this point, I just want them to make the playoffs and make some sort of a run, get out of the first round, make it exciting, right? So that's where we are at this point, and all things pointing in the right direction, and we'll see if that continues. Have a great rest of the weekend.